Alright guys, I'm going to go over how you can use Goldshell HUB to remotely access your miners, how you can make some adjustments to them if you need to. It's a nice feature that was enabled in the latest firmware that was released. That's the 2.2 firmware for the 5 series and some of the box series miners. So you can see the splash page here. It's really easy to use. If you're logged into your Goldshell account already, you just have to click sign in with Goldshell to be able to do so. So we can do that here. If you click on sign in with Goldshell, it'll verify your login. If you're not logged in already, it will bring you up to a login page. You use that same single sign-on ID. As you can see here, I registered 2 of my miners already just as testing to make sure that I was able to accomplish this so I could bring a nice video for you guys. So what you need to do to be able to actually add miners to this is you need to update your firmware on your 5 series miner or your box miner. So before I had talked about how you access that miner, you can either do it through Find My Goldshell on the web, or you can use the YATA BC Batch Management Control System. Both are great options to use. You can see the YATA BC software here. All you have to do is press the IP button on the back of your miner. You'll see it come up and you'll be able to click on it and it will be highlighted. Whenever you do this, you'll be able to manage this. You can update the firmware here, and also the new version of the software has enabled the cloud control feature, which we'll talk about as well. The other option that we have that we can see is find.goldshell.com. If you press the IP button on the back of your miner, you'll be able to, again, access the menu system of your Goldshell miner. So for example, we'll go into this CK box that I have here. You can see that the firmware version is 2.1.1. So how do you update that firmware? Just as a caution, Goldshell does say that if it's operating correctly, you should not update your firmware, but if you need to be able to remotely access your system, you will have to upgrade that firmware. You also can go to the Goldshell website. If you go under support and then under the software tab, you need to click right here on to get the latest version of your firmware. Whenever we do that, it will take us to the actual GitHub site where you can see, depending on what device you have, which firmware you want to download. So the 2.2.0 firmware is the firmware that's going to enable that cloud monitoring through the Goldshell Hub. So whatever your box may be or your 5 series miner, make sure that you download the correct firmware. Once that's been completed, what we'll do is we'll actually update this firmware. So if you go under System and then Update, you'll see it right here. We need to make sure that our miner is also unlocked. So make sure that it's unlocked. If it's still the default password, use that default password. Once we find that it is unlocked, we'll find our firmware that we have here, and we're going to highlight that firmware, hit open. It's going to show that firmware there. Make sure you verify what miner that you're using, and then all you're going to do is hit update. As you can see here, it says it takes a minute to upgrade the miner. Don't power the miner down. Don't do anything to the miner. Just let it sit there. Now, whenever it is completed, there is a possibility if you're using DHCP that it is going to refresh a new IP address. Refreshed my Find My Goldshell website. It did refresh, it did reboot. I heard the miner actually power back up and the fans speed up. You can see it was refreshed just a few seconds ago. We're going to go back under that settings tab. As you can see, the CK box was upgraded to 2.2.0. So we're good to go. You'll see hash rate here in a moment, hopefully. But how do you add it then to the Goldshell Hub? If we go back to our Goldshell Hub website, what we need to do is we need to copy an account key that tells it to bring it over here. So you can see I have 2 in my account at this point in time. Go under account settings. You're going to see your key here. It's secret. Don't share it with anyone. You can hit the copy button on the side. Once we do that, we're going to go back to our miner site. Now that we're back on our miner site, what we're going to do now is go to the System tab again, and then we're going to go under the Cloud Control settings, and we're going to enable Cloud Control. We're going to take the key that we had just copied from our Goldshell Hub, and we're going to paste it in there. Once you've pasted it in there correctly, click on Apply. And that's all there is to it. So we're going to take our home screen back here so we can see my hash rate coming back up. Now we're going to go back to the Hub website. We're going to see if that was able to be found. We go back under our overview screen. You can see I have a total number of 3 now. 2 CK boxes registered here. I have an LB box as well. We can click on that total number, and we can see these actual online with their IP addresses, and that's all you need to do. Very easy. You can do it in a few minutes to register your boxes. If you click on the IPs, it will tell you the hash rates. It'll tell you how long they've been running. It will tell you their average hash rate, etc. And you'll be able to also look at the pool data that we have at the bottom. So that's all there is to adding your 5 series miner or box miner to Goldshell Hub. If you have any questions, please ask. If you like my videos and want me to continue, like and subscribe. Thanks.